everybody, I'm Blitz, and I've partnered up with Paradox to bring you a few tutorial videos on their newest game, Surviving the Aftermath. It's a new early access colony survival game that is now available. So now with that said, today we're going to be digging into the game and learning the mechanics about the food sources and water collection. So when you first start a new colony, you'll be greeted with your survivors and some basic resources. Now your goal is to keep them alive as long as possible. And with that, they're probably going to need something to eat or drink, right? First off, we'll start with the most basic food source, which is berries. You'll gather your berries by clicking on your original food storage stockpile. Once you click on that, there's an option to move the work area, and as you move this, you'll find little yellow nodes that will turn green as soon as you mouse over them. You can resize that work area with the control mouse wheel or the triggers on your controller, and these work areas are used for other resources as well, but this video is just about food and water gathering. As you can imagine, berry bushes are a temporary food source. They eventually do run out, so make sure you start building a sustainable food source before you run out of food. So we'll move on to farming. The game has 3 different soil qualities: fertile soil, normal soil, and barren soil. Fertile soil is obviously the best, and it'll give you the best yields for your fields, and normal soil is still a good spot to farm, but not quite as good as the fertile soil. And obviously, barren soil is impossible to farm on because nobody wants to eat rocks. Once a field is built, you can assign a new crop to the field. They have different growth rates and yields for the crops, so plant accordingly to your colony's needs and pay attention to the growth rates. You can also obtain more seed for different types of crops through traveling traders, and we'll get more into that in a future video. It's also possible to harvest a crop early if you're in a really bad situation, which I have found myself in before. Now that you have your starting fields, it's a good idea to add meat to your colony's diet to help them avoid malnutrition. This can be done in a number of ways. The first way is fishing. Place down a fishing hut at the edge of a lake, and the game will automatically assign a new work area to the lake. Pay attention to not overlap work areas too much, as the buildings will have production penalties. The trapper also works similarly to the fishing hut. Place it in a forested area to gather venison. Another cool way to get food resources is out exploring on the world map. Just send your specialist to individual locations to find resources and bring back jerky or canned food to your colony. And as you're out here on the world map, you can also find science points to use them in your tech tree. We'll talk about food tree in this video, but the other trees are important to the well-being of your colony. So the first tech is Communal Eating, which gives us a cookhouse and a logging camp. Chop down trees to turn into firewood, and then employ grandma to make us some nice warm meals for our colonists and prevent malnutrition by combining root vegetables and meat to make a beautiful stew. As you continue down the tree, you can unlock larger fields and interesting buildings, like the insect farm for meat replacement, because who doesn't like eating bugs? And also greenhouses, so you don't lose 18 colonists like I did when a nuclear fallout event destroyed all of my crops and my colonists starved to death. So if you have made it this far in the game, I'm going to assume that you understand what the rest of the technologies in this tree do, and I'll let you explore them for yourself. Now that we've covered food production, I'm going to quickly talk about the water resources. Water is a pretty easy resource to accumulate in the game, and every well that you place, you get roughly 12 water units for fertile and normal land, unless you overlap the work area. And you can't really dig well into barren land because it's rocky, so spread out your wells and build a water tower when your production exceeds your consumption. Also, if you want to invest some science points into the food tree a little deeper, you can unlock the deeper wells, which will help you get more water over time. So thanks for watching. This concludes our first tutorial on surviving the aftermath. In the next tutorial, we'll dive deep into the resource and production change, and may your crops grow long and your disasters end short. We'll see you next time.